and scientists have no idea where it came from. What they do believe is that if you have that, you may have been evolved from a different kind of species on this.
And scientists have no idea where it came from. What they do believe is that if you have that, you may have been evolved from a different kind of species on this planet. Type O isn't just common. It's found in staggering concentration among indigenous peoples of the Americas, with up to 100% of certain indigenous populations having it. This surprising distribution pattern is just one aspect of blood type O that has fascinated scientists for decades. Well, imagine if your blood type could reveal where you came from. Crazy, right? But here's where it gets even wilder. Scientists say ancient humans actually evolved new blood types after leaving Africa. Well, in this video, we will discover what AI decoded about blood type O. It's shocking. Keep watching to find out. The basics of blood type O. Blood type O has always stood out as something truly unique. You know what blood type you are? Yeah, O positive. But Canadian scientists think they found a way to efficiently convert other blood types into O among the different blood types. And for good reason. It's not just another medical classification or a detail on someone's health record. It's a vital part of saving lives across the world. When people talk about blood type O, they often describe it as special, and that's because it genuinely is. Unlike other blood types, it doesn't carry the A or B antigens on the surface of its red blood cells. This might sound like a small technical detail, but in the world of medicine, that tiny difference makes an enormous impact. The absence of these antigens means that type O blood is less likely to cause dangerous reactions when given to someone of a different blood type. Doctors often emphasize that what makes O blood truly remarkable isn't what it has, but rather what it doesn't have. After all, in a transfusion, the last thing anyone wants is for the recipient's immune system to attack the donated blood. And because O blood lacks those A and B markers, there's nothing for the recipient's antibodies to fight against. Isn't it fascinating how something missing can actually be what makes it priceless? What if the very thing that sets you apart is the reason you're impossible to replace? Well, that's exactly what scientists just uncovered about blood type O. And trust me, what AI revealed will leave you speechless. Stay glued till the end. Type O blood itself you met in two main forms, O positive and O negative. At first glance, they might sound almost identical, but that small positive or negative sign tells a big story. The difference comes down to a tiny protein called the Rhd factor. O positive blood has it, while O negative blood doesn't. And though it may seem like such a small distinction, that protein can make all the difference in who can safely receive which kind of blood. Doctors have to pay close attention to it during transfusions because even a single mismatch can cause serious complications. It's incredible, really, how such a microscopic difference can decide whether someone's life is saved or put at risk. Have you ever thought about how something so small can hold so much power? People often hear the phrase universal donor and wonder what it really means. In medical terms, it refers to those who have O negative blood. This group of donors is sometimes seen as the quiet heroes of the blood donation world. Their blood can be given to anyone, no matter their blood type, without causing an immune reaction. Why? Because O negative blood has none of the markers, no A, no B, and no Rhd protein that the body might reject. In emergencies where there's no time to test a patient's blood type, O negative blood becomes the safest, fastest option. Imagine a trauma scene where every second counts, or an operating room where doctors are racing against time. In those critical moments, O negative blood can literally mean the difference between life and death. Many doctors and nurses call it liquid gold for this very reason. It's also the safest kind of blood for fragile newborns, especially when it's free of cytomegalovirus, a common infection that can harm those with weak immune systems. Some even call these donors heroes for babies, a title that feels entirely deserved when you realize the impact of their generosity.
Of course, O-positive blood also plays a vital role. Even though it's not quite as universally compatible, it can be given to anyone with a positive blood type, A+, B+, AB+, or O+, which, interestingly enough, makes up the majority of the human population. Over 80% of people around the world have a positive blood type, so the demand for O-positive blood never seems to slow down. Hospitals often need it daily, and blood banks work tirelessly to keep enough on hand. One could almost say O-positive is the workhorse of the blood world, always in demand, always saving lives in large numbers. Now, when it comes to how common type O blood is, the numbers are pretty astonishing. It turns out that type O is the most common blood type in the world. About 42% of the global population has O-positive blood, which makes it the most widespread of all. When you add O-negative to the count, nearly 45% of all humans have type O blood. That's almost half the planet. Yet, despite being so common, it's also the most needed. Isn't it ironic how something so abundant can still fall short when people need it the most? The global distribution of type O blood tells an even more interesting story. In certain parts of the world, particularly among indigenous communities in Central and South America, type O blood dominates almost entirely, approaching a remarkable 100% in some groups. Countries like Ecuador, Peru, and Zimbabwe show particularly high numbers, with about 3/4 of their populations having O-positive blood. In the United States, though, the distribution depends more on ethnicity. Studies have shown that roughly 45% of Caucasians, 51% of African Americans, and 57% of Hispanics are type O. These variations highlight why having a diverse range of blood donors is so essential. Every community plays an important role in keeping the blood supply balanced, and when one group donates more, it helps fill the gaps for everyone else. But even with all these donors, there's still a persistent problem, especially with O-negative blood. Only about 7 to 9% of people have it, and yet it's the one doctors reach for most urgently in life-and-death situations. This imbalance often leads to shortages that blood banks struggle to meet. Think about it. How can something so crucial be so rare?
The demand never stops, but the supply can't easily keep up. It's one of those paradoxes of nature that continues to puzzle and challenge the medical world. The blood type O isn't just another scientific category. It's a lifeline shared among people across the globe. It reminds everyone of how interconnected human beings truly are. Someone's donation in one country can save a stranger's life in another. And isn't that something worth reflecting on? Before we dive into what AI just uncovered about type O blood, let's take a moment to remember why this story matters. It's not just about science, it's about us. The story of type O blood is really the story of humanity at its best. Ordinary people saving lives through something as simple yet extraordinary as a pint of blood. So stay with me to the very end, because what AI just decoded might completely change the way we see this life-giving blood type forever. I just decoded blood type O. What changed? In 2025, the world of blood research experienced a transformation unlike anything scientists had seen before. For decades, researchers had studied blood in the traditional way: microscopes, test tubes, endless trials. But they had hit a wall when it came to understanding the deeper mysteries of blood type O. Then came artificial intelligence. It was as though someone had switched on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, researchers had access to tools that could see what human eyes could not. And patterns that had been buried in data for generations began to make sense. People began to ask, could machines finally uncover what humanity had been trying to figure out for over a century? The new chapter began when scientists started feeding artificial intelligence with vast amounts of global blood data. They used something called deep learning models, sophisticated computer systems that could process billions of genetic records in minutes. These weren't just ordinary computers. They could recognize patterns hidden in oceans of numbers and genetic codes. The most effective ones, convolutional neural networks, worked like human brains, but faster and more precisely. AI didn't tire, didn't lose focus, and didn't overlook the tiny details that humans often did. In a way, it became the perfect lab assistant.
Only this one never blinked. Researchers said that these systems didn't just store information, They learned from it. Isn't it amazing how machines can now teach us about ourselves? In transfusion medicine, this technology proved to be a game changer. AI started building quality databases for blood products that could be trusted more than ever before. These databases weren't simple lists. They were intelligent systems that made sense of what they recorded. They could link small changes in blood composition to specific health outcomes and guide how hospitals managed blood donations and transfusions. It was as if the AI could read between the lines of biology. With its help, scientists discovered that every drop of blood carried a story, one that could now finally be read clearly. Metal fragments found nearby include broken axles and horseshoes, further reinforcing the idea that this was no haphazard shipwreck. The presence of horse-related artifacts alongside the wheels paints a vivid picture of mounted charioteers caught in a desperate battle or sudden calamity. Yet the harsh underwater conditions have not been kind to these remains. Saltwater corrosion has ravaged the metal, and tidal tides continue to shift sand and silt over the site. Coral growth, while printing shapes, also makes cleaning and extracting the artifacts impossible without destroying them. This natural encampment acts as both protector and prison, keeping the relics intact but forever below the surface. One of the most chilling images captured by the excavation team was that of a glimmering egglet faintly beneath coral with an unusual golden sheen. If true, this could indicate exquisite craftsmanship, or even a ceremonial royal chariot wheel. Whether this golden piece still exists remains uncertain, but its presence adds a layer of mystery and urgency to the mission. Corrosion aside, the Valinson professionals conducting this often remarked on the eerie sensation of handling these relics. Each fragment tells a story of sudden catastrophe and loss. The fact that the wheels maintain their shape despite millennia underwater is a testament to the unique preservation conditions of the site and the intense tragedy it witnessed. Archaeometallurgists who examine remote samples confirmed the metal's makeup matches the Late Bronze Age, a period when chariots dominated Egyptian warfare. This scientific confirmation ties the artifacts directly to the era of Pharaoh Ramses II, the ruler traditionally linked to the Exodus story. Careful sonar mapping reveals that the stranded wheels aren't randomly placed. They lie in a line, guiding investigators toward a deeper understanding of the sequence of events that led to this underwater mass grave. The chariots tell a story of might suddenly undone and swallowed by the sea. Yet the haunt truth remains: these coral tombs are fragile ghosts. With every passing year, shifting currents and saltwater gnaw at what little remains. The discovery is not just monumental, it's a race against time to unearth a history on the brink of vanishing forever.
From these encrusted wheels moves deeper into what else lies beneath the waves. The discovery of scattered bones added a deeply human dimension to an already astonishing find. Hundreds of bone shards, some clearly human and others belonging to horses, lay tangled across the sea amid chariot fragments. These remains were not scattered randomly, but appeared clustered in what suggested sudden and violent loss. The preservation of so many bones is rare, especially in such large numbers, hinting at a tragic mass casualty event. As divers examined the site more closely, they began to piece together a somber picture. This was not just an accident or a battle relic. It was an underwater grave for men and animals caught in a catastrophe thousands of years ago. The bones met what would be expected of soldiers and their war horses, tying the corpses directly to the chariot remains and the presumed fleeing army. This reinforced that the site was a snapshot of history frozen in place, a moment of panic eternally beneath the sea. The human remains gave rise to powerful emotions among the divers. Seeing skulls, ribs, and spines encased in coral and intertwined with bones gave the dive a grave solemnity.
This was no treasure, but a journey into tragedy. One diver's haunting radio message, "This is not good," reflected the weight that they had encountered. Hundreds of lives swept away in an ancient, sudden disaster. The site felt like an underwater cemetery where history's human cost was unmistakable. While the presence of bones helped support the idea of a military disaster, it also opened questions about the nature of the event. Was this the biblical drowning of Pharaoh's army during the Exodus, or a different, unknown battle? The sheer number of remains and the arrangement of artifacts suggest drowning rather than a typical battlefield aftermath.
This subtle distinct matters greatly in understanding how this ancient tragedy unfolded. Scientific tests, and it made one wonder, if machines can teach us so much about something as intimate as our own blood, what else might they uncover about who we truly are? It's almost unsettling to realize how much our bodies are quietly saying long before we ever notice. Because here's where it gets even more fascinating, especially if you're type O. What scientists have discovered about this blood type might just make you rethink everything you thought you knew about your health, personality, and even your natural strengths. So don't blink, because what you're about to hear could explain why you feel the way you do, how your body fights off illness, and what makes type O stand out from the rest. Health surprises linked to type O. According to research, people with blood type O seem to have a fascinating mix of blessings and challenges when it comes to their health. It turns out that their blood type doesn't just define what kind of donor they can be, it also quietly shapes how their bodies handle everything from heart disease to infections. Isn't it amazing how something as simple as our blood type, which we rarely think about, can have such a deep influence on our overall well-being? Scientists have found that people with blood type O generally enjoy better heart health compared to those with other blood types. The numbers don't lie. Studies show that people with blood types A, B, and AB have a higher risk of coronary heart disease, while those with blood type O consistently show a lower risk. For example, one report mentioned that about 6.27% of heart disease cases can actually be traced back to people having a non-O blood group. When you think about it, that's a pretty remarkable advantage to have running through your veins. The protective effect of blood type O isn't limited to one gender either. It shows up across both men and women. Long-term studies have shown that among women, the rates of heart disease were much lower for those with blood type O than those with type AB. In men, the pattern was the same, though the blood type O had fewer heart disease incidents compared to men with AB blood. Scientists believe this advantage might even stretch beyond just the heart. Some studies have suggested that people with blood type O may also have a reduced risk of developing memory problems or dementia later in life. It raises the question, could blood type O somehow protect not just the heart, but also the mind? It's an intriguing possibility that keeps researchers digging deeper. However, the picture isn't all rosy. Having blood type O also comes with a few trade-offs. While their hearts might be better protected, their stomachs tell a different story. People with blood type O are far more likely to suffer from stomach ulcers, especially duodenal ulcers. Researchers say this is partly due to how certain bacteria behave inside the body. A bacterium known as Helicobacter pylori seems to have a special liking for people with blood type O. It attaches more easily to the stomach lining of these individuals, leading to a higher risk of infection. Studies have found that type O individuals are around 16% more likely to be infected with H. pylori than people with other blood types. And once infected, their immune systems often respond more strongly by releasing higher levels of inflammation markers like interleukin-6 and tumor necrosis factor alpha. This intense response, while meant to protect the body, actually contributes to the formation of ulcers. It's almost ironic, isn't it? The same blood type that protects the heart also seems to make the stomach more vulnerable.
Blood type O's influence doesn't stop at the heart and stomach. It even reaches into the world of fertility and reproduction. Studies have shown that women with type O blood might face more fertility challenges compared to women with other blood types. One study involving women undergoing fertility treatments found that those with blood type O were twice as likely to have higher levels of follicle-stimulating hormone, FSH, which is often a sign of reduced ovarian reserve. In simpler terms, it means their eggs might not be as plentiful, which could make conception more difficult. Researchers have also pointed out that blood type compatibility between partners could affect fertility outcomes. For instance, certain combinations of parental blood types, especially when the mother has blood type O, might lead to reduced fertility rates. It makes one wonder how something as invisible as blood chemistry could have such personal and emotional consequences in people's lives. The story of blood type O took another interesting turn during the COVID-19 pandemic,
when scientists began studying the virus and how it affected different people. They noticed something peculiar. People with blood type O seemed to be less likely to catch COVID-19 compared to those with type A or AB. The reason, according to researchers, lies in how the virus interacts with blood cells. The SARS-CoV-2 virus, which causes COVID-19, uses its spike protein to latch onto cells, but it binds less effectively to type O blood cells. In contrast, it attaches more easily to type A cells. This difference in binding could explain why people with blood type O were less likely to test positive for the virus or develop severe symptoms. And just when everyone thought blood type had nothing to do with infection rates, the Rh factor added another twist. People with Rh-negative blood, especially those who were also type O, appeared to have even lower susceptibility to the virus. Isn't it fascinating how the same biological details that determine who can donate blood to whom also influence how our bodies respond to global pandemics? Even beyond COVID-19, scientists have noticed that people with blood type O tend to show stronger resistance to certain infectious diseases, but also carry unique vulnerabilities. They seem to have better protection against viruses like neurovirus and even malaria in some regions. Yet paradoxically, they're more prone to infections such as cholera and the H. pylori bacteria mentioned earlier. It's a constant balancing act within their biology, a trade-off between strength in one area and weakness in another. It makes one pause and reflect. Is there truly a best blood type, or do they all carry their own unique set of advantages and disadvantages? At the end of the day, what this research really shows is that our blood types are not just random labels on a medical chart. They are an unseen part of who we are, influencing how our bodies function in subtle but powerful ways. People with blood type O may walk around feeling like everyone else, but beneath the surface, their bodies are wired to protect their hearts more fiercely, fight off some viruses more efficiently, and yet struggle more with ulcers and fertility issues. Life, it seems, always finds a way to balance things out.
And perhaps the biggest takeaway from all this is that no matter what our blood type is, understanding it better can help us make more informed choices about our health. After all, if something so small and unchangeable can shape so much of our well-being, isn't it worth paying attention to? But what if the way we understand blood itself is about to change forever? Because right now, a silent revolution is taking place, one powered by artificial intelligence. From decoding hidden patterns in our DNA to predicting diseases before they strike, AI is rewriting everything we thought we knew about blood. Stay tuned, because what's coming next will blow your mind. How AI is changing blood science. Artificial intelligence, once viewed as a distant concept from science fiction, is now transforming something as vital as blood science in ways that many never thought possible. It's almost incredible to think that machines, through advanced computational approaches, are now solving challenges that human experts alone could never fully tackle. People often wonder, how exactly can technology understand something as complex and deeply personal as human blood? The answer lies in AI's ability to process unimaginable amounts of data in seconds, spotting patterns and details that the human eye could never catch. Through this quiet revolution, millions of people across the world are beginning to benefit from more accurate care, faster diagnoses, and even longer, healthier lives. One of the most remarkable breakthroughs has been in precision medicine and blood matching. In the past, identifying the right blood type for transfusions was an exhausting, time-consuming process that could easily stretch over several hours. But with AI-powered molecular genotyping, everything is changed. This technology allows scientists to study the detailed molecular structure of blood and identify unique antigens even in patients who have recently undergone transfusions or have sensitized red blood cells. What used to take over 3 hours can now be done in less than 1. Isn't that something to marvel at? Not only that, but this new approach has proven to be 50% more cost-effective than older methods of finding antigen-negative units. For patients with lifelong conditions such as sickle cell disease or thalassemia, this has been nothing short of life-changing. AI-facilitated extended antigen matching has reduced alloimmunization rates by nearly 30%, which means fewer painful complications, fewer hospital visits, and longer periods of stability between transfusions. One can only imagine the relief that brings to patients who have spent years living in constant discomfort. AI is also reshaping how doctors approach organ transplant compatibility. In the past, predicting how well an organ transplanted would function or whether the body would reject it often involved invasive and risky biopsies. But research from the Mayo Clinic in 2022 revealed a major leap forward. AI-based scoring systems can now analyze kidney biopsy images to measure inflammation, a crucial signal of transplant health. By doing this, the technology can pinpoint patients who are most at risk for rejection before the symptoms even appear. Even more fascinating, AI combined with electrocardiography has shown great promise in predicting rejection risks without having to perform a single invasive procedure. Isn't that a powerful step forward for medicine? These algorithms have also advanced donor-recipient matching far beyond what traditional systems could achieve. They don't just look at surface-level factors like blood type or basic biological compatibility.
They dig deeper into molecular data to forecast how a particular transplant will behave over time. This kind of foresight could mean the difference between a short-term success. Then there's the unexpected connection between blood type and the gut microbiome. Most people wouldn't think that their blood type could influence the bacteria living inside their intestines. But recent studies have revealed just that. Researchers have found that certain gut bacteria, particularly a strain called F. pronsnitzi, can only thrive when matched with compatible blood types. This means that blood compatibility might play a hidden role in determining which bacteria can successfully colonize a person's gut. Through AI analysis, scientists are now uncovering how these bacteria interact with the blood's glycans, the sugar molecules found on red blood cells. What's truly amazing is how this information could be used to create new microbial prevention strategies in the future. Who would have thought that something as simple as your blood type could influence the ecosystem of your own body? And then, of course, there's the future. A future shaped by what experts are calling precision blood. Through next-generation sequencing and AI's immense computing power, doctors are moving toward a world where transfusion reactions and compatibility issues could be prevented before they even happen. Instead of reacting to complications after a transfusion, hospitals could soon use AI systems to predict and avoid them entirely. Evidence already suggests that more accurate blood matching leads not only to better medical outcomes, but possibly even to longer lifespans. Think about that for a moment. Technology helping doctors match blood so perfectly that it might literally extend human life. For patients who undergo frequent transfusions, such as those battling chronic illnesses, this kind of innovation offers a new kind of hope. In the end, it all comes back to one simple truth. AI is not replacing doctors or scientists. It's empowering them by handling the complex, data-heavy work. AI frees medical experts to focus on what truly matters, the human side of healing. It's about care that's faster, safer, and far more personal than ever before. Isn't it remarkable how a line of code can change the rhythm of a human heartbeat? Or how a machine's insight can give someone a few more healthy years with their loved ones? Artificial intelligence isn't just revolutionizing blood science. It's quietly rewriting what it means to care for human life. And as researchers continue to push the limits of what's possible, one can only imagine how much further this journey will go. With this, we have come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do well to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. To enjoy more thrilling stories, click now on the following video that pops up on your screen.